Hey, what's up guys, Frost King here. Today I'm going to be going over log bait again. Just got another 12 win with it, but I had some really good opponents, and I wanted to have a little bit different of a format this video. I wanted to go over like matchups and how I go about it. Last video I just did live gameplay, and obviously I'm not able to give like the reasons why I'm doing things as good when I'm trying to concentrate on that. So that's what I'm going to be going over in this matchup, and hopefully helping you guys be able to get some good Grand Challenge wins or push on a ladder with this deck depending on your card levels, whatever you need. That's what I want to help you with. So with this video, I'm going to actually do it a little bit differently. I'm going to do the chest opening first, and then we're going to watch things after, just in case that bothers some of you guys. I don't know if it does, but sometimes when I watch videos, I don't want to wait for the chest opening last, so I'm going to hop into it. So let's get it. Alright, so we get 22,000 gold, we get 3 ice spirits, 51 mortars, 68 goblins, 10 goblin huts, 83 ice spirits, 14 wizards, 98 bats, 16 flying machines, 18 furnaces, 132 spear goblins. Alright, 49 Inferno towers, that's pretty good. 547 elite barbarians and 11 tornadoes. That was a pretty bad chest, but yeah. Only good things were tornadoes. I guess the mortars are good. The ice golems, furnace isn't bad. Bats aren't bad. I guess we got a lot of gold out of this one, so that's fine with me. But alright, so I'm gonna hop into some replays. Like I said, we faced some really good opponents in this one. We faced Revolution from Team Queso right here. He's in a fake Team Queso clan, I think, just as a joke. And then we have this guy from Mega Stars who had an interesting deck, 450,000 cards won. And then we had a guy down here with a pretty big counter deck. He had 3 spells, Hog, Bait, and he had 366,000 cards won. So we're going to go over those replays, and I'm going to show you how I went about those matchups. So we're going to start with the Enivost, or whatever his name is. I don't know how to pronounce it, but we're going to start with that one first. So I'm going to run it at 2 times, and I'm going to give you guys my run through of what I did. So I'm throwing the barrel right there, just to start off. I log, play the Goblin Gang, play the Knight. That placement right there, I denied hits from the barrel and from the Hog, so that was really good on my end. Send the barrel in again, bait out his log, so we're up 1. He had to cycle out Inferno, so that was good for us. And then right here, I believe I just play a Princess in the back. He's going to be fireballing or arrowing it. I believe he's just going to arrow it to get it out of my hand. Split the Goblin Gang for cycling purposes right here. I'm going to send in a Knight and then another Goblin Barrel right here. I got him in a bad hand. I knew his arrows and his log were out of hand, so that's the reason why I did that. And I also forced him into the Minion Horde, which means he played value back into my Princess, which is good for us. That's a thing you always want to do. If you can outcycle and force them to play units into your Princess, that makes your Princess retain a lot of value, and that's a really good thing, because that means that your Princess is getting value, you're making good trades off of it, and you're forcing your opponent into awkward situations, which is always what you want. Right there, outcycled again, I put him back into a bad situation, just took his tower with it. Just huge punish right there. So I'm going to keep that up opposite lane, do the same thing. Right here we log, and I played a horrible Inferno right there. I should have just played it over a little bit. But we're towards the end, so I'm just kind of hanging on right here. Trying to do my best to just hold it off. I'm keeping the pressure up right here. I expected he was going to play an Inferno Tower, so I played the Goblin Gang in the middle. And then, obviously, I would have went in for a barrel or whatever else if he were to end up taking that other tower. So that's how I went about that matchup. Outcycling, as you saw, was my big thing, and forcing him to play units into my Princess, which was really, really big. Alright, then we're going to go over... let's see, this Papatella, I think is how you pronounce it, from Mega Stars. Really good player, but I think I played this one really well, so I'm going to actually run this one through at 1 times, and then I'm going to run through the Revolution replay at 1 times also. So, this matchup, I was thinking originally I was getting, because this was, I believe, my 10th, this was my 9th, but if I won it was going to be my 10th win, so I thought this was the Ice Wizard, like Baby Dragon Tornado log deck with Tombstone, and I'm glad it wasn't, because that deck is crazy hard to play against with this deck, because it's Graveyard Poison and they have triple spells. So right here I play the Goblin Gang and I immediately throw a barrel. I knew this is a really important thing. I'm going to pause. People who are playing bait, you absolutely need to do this. This is probably the most crucial thing against Graveyard, or you will lose this matchup every time. A Graveyard player, when they poison, or when they Graveyard, they're going to be poisoning the second they get 4 elixir. If they, obviously he knows I'm running log bait, so he's going to be poisoning the second I get 4, because he knows I use my knight, and that's out of cycle. So when you throw the barrel, what it does is it makes them make the decision if they're going to log or they're going to poison. Because if they log, they're not going to have enough elixir for poison or tornado, whatever spell, log, arrow, tornado. They're not going to have enough elixir for the poison. Or they have to make the decision to poison your graveyard. And from my experience, the barrel is going to have more consistent damage than the graveyard if you're logging, playing your Ice Spirit, and playing your Princess correctly. Your textbook defense against this is going to be, if you sense a graveyard push is coming, you're going to play Knight, you're going to throw a barrel, you're going to play a Princess behind your King Tower so that it goes opposite lane of where from where the graveyard is. You want to play your Princess so it goes opposite lane, so that after it finishes shooting at the graveyard, it doesn't walk into the poison and die. So that's a really big thing I wanted people to know about this deck. Graveyard Poison can be a very, very difficult matchup if they have log, or even if they have tornado sometimes, just because Graveyard has very consistent damage, and because the poison, your troops are very weak to poison in this deck. So I'm going to continue this match. Right here you see I log, and here's a little example. Yeah, I'm tanking, the Knight's tanking. I also protected the Princess, and then as you'll see, we end up getting more damage than he does. It's about 100, but we are also up in elixir in this situation, and we just forced him to use his big main spell. So that's a really big thing does, and his graveyard's out of cycle. I say well played to him because he denied a lot more damage than I thought he was going to in that situation. I thought I was going to basically like take tower because I knew he was very low on elixir, and I had a knight tanking for that barrel. So he played that very well. Right here goes with the Goblin Hut, and I'm super confused. I'm like, what? I've never seen a Graveyard Goblin Hut deck before. But I'm just throwing barrels to cycle. I know he has that out of hand. Right here, it's single elixir, so I'm not going to be going in for rockets on the boulders. Traditionally, in double elixir, if they're putting boulders on the tower, I'm going to be rocketing it. So another thing in this matchup against Splash Shard that you're going to want to do is their deck is very weak to Inferno Tower. So right here, I'm playing this Inferno Tower because if he decides to play a Baby Dragon, I'm going to actually just play it opposite lane. It's going to pull the Baby Dragon. But this tower is healthier, so I'm willing to take some damage from the boulder. He decides to switch lanes just because that Inferno Tower I don't believe was going to shoot it. But as you see, I do the textbook defense I said. I did not have barrel in hand at that point in time, or enough elixir for it to where I felt comfortable throwing it. So that's why I just locked down and defended, and that tower is still higher than before. So right here I'm going to go in for a barrel, and I believe I'm going to throw it to the side. I think he'll go for a tornado or a bowler. He goes for a tornado. Our goblins still get hits on the tower, so that's good for us. And then right here, I believe I just keep pressuring with the Goblin Gang. He goes with a bowler. I'm going to go with an Inferno again. And I believe I'll go, I think a Knight's going to get played, but I'll just cycle a Princess in the back. And then I'll play a Knight. I was cycling that Princess so it didn't go opposite lane. I didn't know he was going to graveyard, so that's why I played that Princess there. But as you'll see, it's ideal that you want to play it opposite lane because I believe this Princess will walk into the poison after and die. Actually, she doesn't, so that's good for us. So right here, you'll see I play a Goblin Gang. I'm trying to bait out his bowler so I can get a good rocket. I do bait out his bowler, and as you'll see right here, I get a really nice rocket on the tower. I end up taking it by killing the bowler. And then I believe I just play Inferno. I play Ice Spirit, and then I log. Or I log, and then I play an Ice Spirit, I believe. Cleans up the graveyard. As you saw in that matchup, I tried to keep up the pressure, bait out his bowler in double elixir, switch up my barrel placement, so that was really hard for him to tornado. You have to be really good with tornado to catch it all those times, so that's why I did that. Right here, we're going to go into Revolution. He's a really, really skilled player. I've watched him play in leagues and stuff. He was really, really good during like the Night Witch meta, where he was playing like this Executioner Splash Shard deck, and he was really, really good with it. So that's what I remember him for. So right here, I'll show you what I do in this matchup. I do very similar things. Out cycling and keeping up the pressure is something that is extremely crucial with this deck. But you also gotta like understand it's a control deck, and if you're not controlling the match and you're overexerting yourself on offense, you're going to get punished really hard. Right here, I catch the Bandit. I saw Bats, and I saw other cards along those lines, so I thought it was a Miner deck, so I assumed it was going to have Bandit. I play the Goblin Gang, so I bait out the Zap. Then he plays the Bats, which means my barrel gets chipped. Right here, he gets me like in a good he gets himself in a good situation right here to where his miner tanks for the bats. He ends up getting some decent damage right there. He takes the lead. He plays a bandit over the middle, smart by him. I wasn't expecting it, so I just play the knight to clean that up. But right here, I know he only has zap and his poison in hand, and if he wants to electro wizard, he's not gonna be able to kill my barrel. So I do knight, goblin gang, barrel, and I catch him really low on elixir, and I get a lot of damage in right here. I force him to overspend also. So we get all that damage. He has counter-pushing troops that aren't going to be a threat to me. And then, yeah, I just play a princess for this. They aren't a threat to me. And then we also have the elixir advantage. On top of that, he's going to have a princess they has to respond to. Right here, I have a really good princess protection, I believe. I play an ice spirit. And then I play a knight, I believe. He plays an electro wizard. Or he plays a bandit first. And then I believe he plays an electro wizard, but I play a goblin gang. And then I log. It cleans all that up, including the bandit, and that princess still stays alive, which means he still has to respond to it. He's most likely going to zap it. He zaps it away, as you can see, which means that we have really good situation for us. That means he doesn't have zap to defend my barrels or my goblin gang. He's getting a little salty because he had kind of a bad matchup considering he had zap. He plays a P.E.K.K.A. So what I'm going to be doing is I'm going to pressure opposite lane hard. I'm going to barrel. I'm going to goblin gang, especially knowing he doesn't have zap in hand. I'm going to end up taking tower right here. That's super good for us. I force him to spend a lot of elixir on defense. He's super low. I just play Inferno tower. He can't really do anything, so my Inferno just eats that alive. I cycle another princess, or I might play a knight in the back. So right here, I believe I just started playing it more passive. I start locking down defense. I know I have the game in the bag. No reason to overexert myself right there. I was just trying to bait out cards, let's say like bats, so he can't distract my Inferno. I thought he was going to go miner the other tower, so I was trying to protect that. He goes for the Inferno. We play the Ice Spirit over the middle right here to clean up some of those bats. And then we just cycle another princess. Either way, we give him the thumbs up, the good game. And then I think he laughs at us. And then I give him the laugh back. But no hard feelings right there. Just playing the match. Alright, so one thing I want to do, I'm going to go into my 12th win game. And then let's check how long this video is first. Okay, so 12 minutes and 30 seconds. I'm going to go into this 12th win match, and then I'm kind of just going to, run it at 1 times, and I'm going to go over matchups, how you want to go about them, and really crucial things for this deck. Alright. So, in the specific matchups, what I want to show you, or tell you about, is 3 Musketeers. What you're going to be doing is you're wanting to protect your princess if they have miner in the deck, and outcycling them is super crucial. Rocket all their pumps in single elixir. And if they pump up in double elixir, what I like to do is I like to punish instead of rocketing the pump. Like let's say they pump and it's like 50 seconds left in the match. I'm going to go with like a knight, goblin gang, barrel, and if they only have goblin gang to defend, I'm going to pre-log it. If they only have goblin gang to cycle, I mean. Otherwise, they'll clean up your push relatively well. So that's what I like to do. It's really crucial that you protect your princesses in single and double elixir. Because in single elixir, that means they can't get as many pumps down as they want to. And in double elixir, that means that they're not allowed to like break through with a push and have their miner tank for the tower. So that's what I like to do. Always save your Ice Spirit. Make sure it's in your hand so that you can defend that miner. And then... yeah, I think that's basically it for that matchup. Yeah, outcycle. Against Golem. Now, this is a pretty difficult match for some people, but it's easier now, considering that it's not Golem Lightning anymore. What you're going to want to do is you're going to want to do the same thing. Apply pressure and outcycle. A lot of times they only have zap in this meta, so I'll do like Knight, Goblin Gang. They zap, I'll throw a barrel after. Knight will still be tanking, so I'll get a lot of damage that way. Or let's say they defend with like an Electro Wizard. I can play a Princess, log it on defense, and they still have to respond to the Princess. So same thing, keeping pressure up in single elixir, making sure they can't pump. And if they do pump, you rock it, and you should be in really good shape. And then in double elixir, you'll probably already have taken a tower in single elixir if you're playing it correctly and you're outcycling them and things along those lines. But what you want to do, if you take a tower and they're going okay, this, I want to make sure I get this correct. A lot of people think that you're always pressuring opposite lane against Golem, but I don't like to do that, because if I'm pressuring the king tower and they're going opposite lane and I've already taken a tower, they can just eat all that damage on the king and their Golem push is going to be extremely effective. So what I like to do is I like to go same lane as them, but not to build their push stronger. A lot of people think that's what it does, but what it does is it baits units out from and it makes them go in front of the Golem instead of behind. So let's say they play a Night Witch to defend your barrel and your Night Goblin Gang push. What that's going to do is they're not going to have a Golem Night Witch push, and then your Inferno tower is going to clean that up extremely well. So that's your goal with that. You just want to get those units out from in front and make sure that it's easier to clean up. Otherwise, they'll have this big push, and let's say they're running a Golem Poison deck, they'll break through, and you'll be in a really bad situation. So that's your goal in that matchup. A Logbait Mirror matchup, this is extremely hard to explain, but I'm going to try doing my best. You want to make sure you're not defending barrels with Goblin Gang, because that throws more value into the Princess. You're going to want to be logging their barrel anytime. You're going to want to be making sure that you have log in hand when they have barrel in hand. And you're going to want to win the Princess battle. Winning the Princess battle is super hard, but this last match wasn't 3.3 bait versus 3.3 bait, but you can see some of the things I did to win the Princess battle. And then I'll give you the one specific situation where you can log the their Princess, and it's when they play a Goblin Gang to defend their Princess, but you can only log it if you have a barrel in hand and you have a Goblin Gang in hand. So what you're going to do is you're going to log that Princess and that Goblin Gang and immediately throw a barrel after. And what that does is that baits the log out of their hand so that you can use a Goblin Gang on defense, and that will take out their barrel. That way they can't pre-log your Goblin Gang that you're going to play to defend their barrel. Hopefully that made sense. If it doesn't, just rewind, and hopefully I explained that well. Also, another thing you're going to want to be doing in that matchup is if you see any value on the tower, I don't suggest doing this at the beginning of the match. Like, let's say they drop a Princess behind King Tower, you drop a Princess behind King Tower, and then you rocket their Princess. There's a lot of decks that have Princess in it. But if it's a log bait versus log bait matchup, you're going to want to be rocketing any value that's on the tower side that you're going for, or that you've done damage to. So that's your goal. Also, in double elixir, if you take damage lead, you need to be rocket cycling, because that's your way you're going to win, through rocket cycling. If both players are playing correct, you're not going to get that much damage through with your barrels. Also, if you get like one more Princess than them, you can go for bridge Princesses to get chip, and you'll also still have that other Princess that they have to respond to. So that's what I like to do in that matchup. Against Hog Rider, what I like to do is in single elixir, I'll defend with like Night Goblin Gang or Goblin Gang Ice Spirit. And if they outcycle me, I will rocket their Ice Golem Hog Rider push. Also, if they do Ice Golem Hog Rider single elixir, I'm not afraid to Inferno Tower that, because that is a positive trade on our end. But that can be a difficult situation if you don't know how to play the matchup. Don't be afraid ever to rocket an Ice Golem and a Hog Rider in that matchup. Also, you want to just make sure that you're trying to outcycle them. That's hard sometimes if they're playing a Hog Cycle deck, but it is possible. Make sure that you're protecting your Princesses to the best of your abilities, which can be relatively easy. I like to play my Princesses up a little bit higher in this matchup, because if they have Fireball, they're going to be fireballing it every single time that's on the tower. It is a -1 trade, but that also takes away map control from you. So that's what I like to do. I'm going to go just look like at different decks, like what you should do against it. Oh, against Expo? Yeah, really keep track of when they have Expo in hand and when they have Log in hand. If you don't know when they have Expos in hand, you're going to lose the matchup, because they can Expo when you're low on Elixir. If you don't know they have it in hand and you haven't cycled back to Rocket, you're going to get into a really bad scenario. If they do manage to outcycle your Rocket, what you can do is you can throw a barrel and you can take Log out of their hand, and you can play a Night Goblin Gang. But that is a very difficult situation to be in, because you don't want to ever do that. It's just in a pinch you can do that. Also, because the majority of people will just they'll play Ice Golem Archers, and they'll clean up that push relatively easily, and their Expo will still get a lot of damage. Also in the matchup, if they outcycle your Rocket, I only suggest this If you're keeping track of their cards and you're really good at keeping track of their cards, you can Inferno the Expo, but you need to know if they have Electro Wizard in hand or if they have Ice Spear in hand. You cannot be doing that at all if you don't know those cards. So that's how you go about that matchup. If it's Expo Pump, you lose the game. That's just a hard counter. There's no harder counter to Log Bait than Expo Pump. So now that's a frustrating matchup. I wish I could tell you how to go about it, but just, I guess, play it to the best of your abilities and hope it works out. And then there's one more matchup I want to go about because it's a really popular deck right now, and a lot of people don't know how to go about it. It's going to be Mega Knight Balloon. They do have Zap, but you have to kill a Miner, you have to kill a Balloon, and you have to kill a Mega Knight, and that could be relatively difficult. So you're not always going to have Elixir for Inferno Tower and Rocket. So what you're going to do in that matchup is you absolutely need to protect your princesses, no matter what. Your princess protection needs to be your priority in that matchup. You cannot let your princess die. If your princess dies, you're not going to be able to get that small amount of damage on the balloon to where it dies to a rocket. And if you don't get that small amount of damage on the balloon, that means the balloon breaks through and takes out your tower. Also, be aware of if they're going to play bats over the middle to distract your Inferno when they have a Mega Knight. And make sure you pressure opposite lane a tiny bit. Like, let's say they defend your barrel with a Mega Knight. Try to pressure with a Goblin Gang or something opposite lane to make sure that they can't just steamroll you with this huge push. So that's what I like to do in that matchup. So that's it for today's video, and I hope you guys enjoyed it. Make sure to like, subscribe, whatever you want to do, and I'll see you guys next time.